Coming up on Sports Desk.
Toward the line and left, calling for it is Maldonado, and the Blue Jays have finally won the pennant. Line drive and a base hit. Justice has scored the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is saved. Saved from the plate. The Braves go.
Sports Desk is brought to you by Makita Canada Incorporated, Canada's leading manufacturer of professional power tools, and by Jack Fraser, quality menswear every day.
Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of Sports Desk. It is a momentous day in sports for Canadians, as you no doubt know by now. The Blue Jays are on their way to their first ever World Series, and we're going to have post-game comments and analysis, plus hockey from the Adams, Smythe, and Patrick divisions tonight. But first, to the big story. It was a tough one to call going in. Would Juan Guzman have his good stuff on 3 days rest? Could the Jays get to Oakland's Mike Moore? Would Joe Carter's bat come alive? And would Robbie Alomar continue to play spectacular baseball? Well, as it turns out, the answer to all of the above was a resounding yes on Wednesday at the Sky Dome. Game number 6 of the ALCS. The Jays looking to grab that elusive berth in the World Series. Let's go to the Sky Dome for some of the pictures as the game gets off to a bad start for the A's. Ricky Henderson dropping a fly ball from Devon White in the first. A couple of batters later, Joe Carter, batting 190 in the series, takes Mike Moore deep, and that's a blast to center field, a 2-run blast, and the Jays lead 2-0. Juan Guzman getting the call on 3 days rest, gets Terry Steinbach in the second inning, and we'll move on to the third. John Olerud. They walked Winfield to get to Olerud, and he pulls a shot just fair down the right field line. Alomar scores. It's 3-0 Toronto early. Still in that same inning, the third, Candy Maldonado with the big crunch of the game. Crunches Mike Moore deep to right center, a 3-run blast. 6-0 Toronto, the 10th Blue Jay home run of the ALCS, and they inch closer to that World Series berth. They knock Mike Moore out after 3 in the third innings, and Guzman still rolling along in control. 2 men aboard in the fifth as he gets Lance Blankenship, and then he whiffs Ricky Henderson for the second time in the game to end the inning. Ricky can't believe it. Oakland snaps Guzman's shutout in the sixth, and then with runners at second and third, Willie Wilson fans on a wicked slider to end the inning. Guzman's 7th K of the game. Move to the 8th now. Robbie Alomar continues his great hitting for the Blue Jays. They haven't been able to get him out at all. Here, a single to left, Manny Lee running hard, and he will score. 11 hits now in the ALCS for Robbie Alomar, 9-2 for the Blue Jays. On to the 9th. Jamie Quirk will smash one to right field. Joe Carter's on his horse, though, makes a great catch in right field. 2 out, and that will set up the final out with Tom Henke versus Ruben Sierra.
High fly ball toward the line and left, calling for it is Maldonado, and the Blue Jays have finally won the pennant.
Quite a day at the Sky Dome in Toronto, a 9-2 pasting the Blue Jays over Oakland, and the Jays win the series, and yes, they are going to the World Series, helped along by home runs from Joe Carter and Candy Maldonado, his second of the series. Guzman with his second win of the series. Mike Moore loses it, and Robbie Alomar was named the ALCS MVP. Of course he was, and let's hear some of the activity from both locker rooms after the game.
An old man playing a kid's game, isn't it wonderful?
Jack Morris has been to the Ultimate Series for this kids game before, and that makes him the exception. For many of these kids, it's the first time, like for Roberto Alomar, the series MVP, who set new championship standards for hitting, especially when it counted the most, with the biggest hit of the series in Game 4. And Joe Carter, a perennial great who ended his slumping series with a bang in the first inning. And Juan Guzman, the best pitcher Toronto had in the ALCS, and just about every other Blue Jay.
I wanted us to win over there, but I thank God, we win over here because we won the game in front of all our fans, everybody was here, and it was kind of exciting, it was really good.
I never thought I'm gonna be here, When I came to Toronto, I was kind of disappointed, but now I feel real happy. I know I was coming to a winning team. I know what is to have fun in baseball now. I'm real happy to be here. The fans support us all year round. and nothing else I can ask for.
It would be great if all the places in the States had support like this, because this is definitely a first-class organization, first-class country, and I'm very happy to be representing Canada, you know, here in the World Series, and hopefully we can bring them home a World Series champion.
This is the ultimate for a ball player, and when you can couple that with the historical event of Canada finally getting in there, and you know, maybe on down the line, these guys will put into perspective, you know, the two-way street of not only achieving the World Series, but what we've done for Canada.
They don't really understand how tough it is to win your division. I mean, that's 162 ball games, and to win, and then to win in the playoffs, you have to play good baseball. You have to have good pitching, and you also have to have some hitting. And we came up with all of that. I think Oakland played great too. It was a great series.
You need a whole team. Everybody contributed. We got loose after the first game. We were real confident. We never wavered in our belief that we could do it. And I think we had something like 10 home runs by a lot of different people, and great defense and great pitching.
Indeed, it is a win for this city and perhaps the entire country, but it may also be a victory for Blue Jays of days gone by. Ex-Jays who came so close to realizing this moment, but didn't make it.
I'll toast everybody tonight. I mean, Jesse and Lloyd and George and all those guys deserve to be here. They really put a lot into this organization. You know, you go right on down the line, and everybody did the best they could, and it's just nice to be here now.
I appreciate all that's happened, and I'm happy for the team and the organization and the fans. This has been long deserved, and I'm just happy to be a part of it right now.
And after in the ninth inning, we made the last out. I said, oh, we win. For sure we win. And I looked, you know, Maldonado, and I said, we win? Okay, we're going to celebrate like now.
Rod Smith, TSN in Toronto.
American League champions right there.
So the Blue Jays going to their first ever World Series and saying, bring on the National League. Well, the Jays game was an afternoon affair, of course, and the Atlanta Braves and the Pittsburgh Pirates knew who their World Series opponent would be. They just had to decide who was going to win Game 7 of the NLCS. Well, the Pirates were up against the Braves ace John Smoltz, who had already beaten the Pirates' Doug Drabek twice in the series so far. The question now, which team would be crossing the border to play the Blue Jays in the World Series? Let's go down to Atlanta for Game 7, where the Braves fans are chopping, hoping for a win. Doug Drabek gets some stellar defense early on. Bottom of the first with a 1-0 lead for the Pirates. Blauser hits a grounder, but Jeff King at third, going to his left, makes the great stab, gets up and throws Blauser out. Bottom of the third, Ron Gant will hit a sinking liner to right center, but the Pirates get more great defense. Andy Van Slyke running, estimating how far it's going to be, and makes the dive, and it's a tremendous catch. Great D out there. Top of the sixth, still 1-0 Pirates now, and Van Slyke comes up the single with the middle. Jay Bell comes in to score 2-0. Van Slyke doing it with the glove and the bat. 2-0 Pirates. Bottom of the sixth, bases loaded for Jeff Blauser. Braves are threatening until he lines out to Jeff King at third, who doubles up Mark Lemke, and Drabek celebrates that double play. Still 2-0 Pirates. To the bottom of the ninth now, last chance for Atlanta. Bases loaded for Ron Gant. He hits a long fly ball. The Braves fans hoping it's going out. It's not going far enough, though, just to the warning track. That'll be enough to score Pendleton on the tag, though. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Braves hoping for some luck. Rubbing Greg Olson's cast. Stan Belinda looking to end it for the Pirates. Ex-Blue Jay Francisco Cabrera pinch hitting. He tries to send the Braves against the Jays. Can he do it? Bases loaded, and Cabrera comes up with a single through the left side. Dave Justice will score easily, but can Sid Bream score? 5 knee operations. He doesn't run well. Here comes Bream. Here comes the throw. Get down, they say. He's in there in spite of LaVallier's tag, missed by inches. The Braves celebrate the big win. Barry Bonds of the Pirates, all the rest of the Pirates just cannot believe it. Bonds and Van Slyke thought they had this, a 2-0 lead going to the bottom of the ninth. Bonds made the good throw, not good enough. Atlanta wins it. They are going to the World Series with a 3-2 dramatic victory in game number 7 Wednesday in front of their home fans. And after the game, you can imagine the Atlanta Braves were delirious about this victory.
Frankie's an awesome fastball hitter, and I was just hoping that he was going to see one, but he just did a great job to get it through there. And I'll tell you what, if I could have went out there and helped Sid run a little faster, I would have, because he wasn't moving too fast around the base, and I didn't know if he was going to make it, but when he did, it was just the greatest feeling in the world.
You know, I did my best. If that ain't good enough for him, then hey, you know, maybe they should talk to the owners or whatever, and whatever they have to do, but the owners and everybody know I gave it my all, and I went right after him. And Jimmy Leland knows I went right after him. And, you know, you just got to base it. You know, it's part of the game.
Not one to sit there and wonder about things and try to, you know, figure things like that out, where it's just, you know, we've been in a situation 3 times, and we've come real close 2 times, and, you know, it just didn't happen. And now that it hasn't, I am not going to beat myself.
I feel good tonight because last night I take one at bat. I saw the knuckleball guy. You know, it's tough to hit against him, and I said, well, I used to hit a lot of knuckleball in Dominican because a lot of pitchers were throwing the kind of pitch. I said, well, I'm ready, and I'm going to hit it good. And I did last night, so tonight I said, well, I got more confidence because the other pitcher was more tough last night, and I hit it good. So I got to hit good. I got to hit him good tonight.
Former Blue Jay Francisco Cabrera is the hero in Atlanta. John Smoltz is the MVP. He won games 1 and 4 in this series. So here's your matchup. The Blue Jays and the Braves in the World Series. Jack Morris will go Saturday night in Atlanta. The Braves, take a little time to savor this victory and then decide on a Game 1 starter. Well, plenty more baseball to come here on Sports Desk. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to go to the streets of Toronto next to see how the Jays fans celebrated the Blue Jays' first ever American League pennant. They were partying in the streets, and who can blame them for that? But before we go, here is a look at Robbie Alomar's MVP numbers as compared to his performance in last year's ALCS. We'll be right back. Stay where you are.
If you hang out with Canada's top builders, you'll see they rely on Makita high-torque tools. Corded or cordless tools, Makita's got the torque to power its way through anything. And with over 100 service centers, you'll never get caught with your tools down. Skyscraper or treehouse, Makita makes it easy.
For a limited time, buy this circular saw and get a rebate of $15. Or this reciprocal saw and save $20. Details in stores.
Hi. Right now, McDonald's, we're celebrating a birthday. Our birthday. We're turning 25. Well, I'm not turning 25. I'm only 17. And to celebrate, we'll be serving our hamburgers for just 25 cents with the purchase of a drink. So this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, come to McDonald's because we'd love to see you and serve you a hamburger for a quarter. After all, McDonald's doesn't have a 25th birthday every day, and I don't have one for another 8 years.
Welcome back to Sports Desk, everyone. Blue Jay fans across the country were obviously pretty excited by Wednesday's events, but nowhere were they whooping it up more than in Toronto. I tell you, downtown Toronto turned into a party around supper time Wednesday, actually before, during, and after the game. And our own Chris Seaton spent the afternoon with some fans who weren't lucky enough to get a ticket to the Dome.
The Sky Dome wasn't the only building filled to capacity in Toronto Wednesday afternoon. It was standing room only at many local bars, and as early as the first inning, you could see it in their eyes. These fans were confident the Blue Jays were in control.
Winning the American East is like eating the cake. Winning the American League is like having the icing. Winning the World Series is like blowing out the canvas.
I think the World Series, winning the series is a bit anticlimactic. I think getting there is the issue with the Toronto Blue Jays. We've been close. You got to get there, and this year we're going to do it.
In the same way that people now ask, where were you in '72 when Canada beat the Soviets, future historians will likely ask the question, where were you in '92 when the Jays became the first Canadian team in history to advance to the World Series?
In Toronto, it's just amazing. I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted them to lose Game 5 just to come back to Toronto and spend a moment in downtown Toronto and watch a game.
Downtown Toronto, Young Street to be exact. That's where the celebration spilled over to after the game. A somewhat reserved crowd leaving the theater weren't too sure what to make of the party animals outside.
I've been the biggest fan of the Blue Jays for like 7 years, and it's all worth it. Today was worth it.
When I was 4 years old, Canada-Russia played, and this is the biggest thing since. Canada-Russia in '88 was good, but now this is the time for Canada to join together and vote for the Blue Jays all the way.
It's a Canada win. It's not a win necessarily for Toronto, but it's a win for Canada. It's a win for the nation.
Without a doubt, it's the biggest win in Toronto Blue Jays history, and the fans are celebrating. But this celebration on Yonge Street will pale in comparison if the Jays should actually win the World Series. Chris Seaton's TSN, Toronto.
Quite a party. Well, there was a lot of hand-wringing and just guarded optimism among Blue Jay fans on Wednesday before the game. They had the lead in the series, certainly, but they also had a history of not coming through when it counted. You remember '85, certainly. You remember '87, then '89, then '91. We're going to take you on a little bit of a bumpy trip down memory lane right now, but it might be a smoother ride for you, knowing the Jays did make it this time. In only their 9th Major League season, the Toronto Blue Jays had won their first division title. 99 wins, franchise record that still stands today. It got them a trip to the postseason against Kansas City. Things look good after Game 2. Remember Al Oliver's dramatic 10th inning single? It brought home Lloyd Mosby with the winning run and gave the Blue Jays a 2-0 lead over Kansas City. But the series changed in Kansas City. Royals were led by a future Hall of Famer. After trailing the series 3-1, they came back to win the ALCS 4-3. Jim Sundberg's bases-loaded triple icing the victory. 2 years later, another postseason appearance seemed imminent, but a late-season collapse in Detroit forced the Jays to the sideline as Frank Tanana mesmerized Toronto on the final day of the season. The Jays would once again have to wait until next year. After a disappointing 1988, the Jays were back in postseason play in '89. This series was a mismatch. Oakland just too powerful, winning it 4-1, with Ricky Henderson literally stealing the spotlight. Last year, another division title, another chance at a World Series appearance, but again, it just did not happen. After splitting the first 2 games in the Metrodome, the unbelievable happened in Toronto. The Twins swept all 3 games at the Skydome.
Hit to right field. Sierra going back, looking up, and this game is tied. Roberto Alomar.
For some reason, things were different in 1992. The Blue Jays were relaxed, the Blue Jays were confident, and the Blue Jays were winners. And now, they make the Fall Classic truly a world-class affair. And we'll have more baseball later in the show, including a tribute to the American League champion Toronto Blue Jays. Okay, let's take a little break from baseball and turn our attention to hockey. There were 3 games on Wednesday to tell you about, including the Jets and the Oilers in a Smythe Division clash in Winnipeg. We'll be right back.
These are my uncles, Uncle Bill and Uncle Richard. They wear suits a lot, but they're still cool. I mean, they look cool. Uncle Bill bought his suit at Jack Fraser for under $200. He always goes there, because they take care of him, make him look good, you know. Uncle Richard bought his suit somewhere else for around $300. Now, I like hanging out with both my uncles, but Uncle Bill, he's always got enough money left to take me to the game.
If you hang out with Canada's top builders, you'll see they rely on Makita high-torque tools. Corded or cordless tools, Makita's got the torque to power its way through anything. And with over 100 service centers, you'll never get caught with your tools down. Skyscraper or treehouse, Makita makes it easy.
For a limited time, buy this circular saw and get a rebate of $15. Or this reciprocal saw and save $20. Details in stores.
CFTO TV, Channel 9, Toronto. Newsbeat Today with Lynn Elliott and Tim Weber.
Good afternoon. The Toronto Blue Jays are set to take on the Atlanta Braves in the World Series, but whatever the outcome of the Fall Classic, Toronto is certainly a winner already. Tim?
The World Series and the fans it will attract to Toronto are expected to pump more than $10 million into the city. Here's CFTO's Paul Rogers.
The Blue Jays had only just captured the American League pennant when these fans set their sights on a bigger prize. All night long, they waited outside the Sky Dome ticket office, only to be told this morning that single and obstructed view seats for the World Series would not go on sale until later this afternoon.
It only be single, sir. That's okay. Okay, which did you want? What did you want?
Last night's Yonge Street boisterous bash after the team's 9-2 victory over Oakland was only the appetizer. The main course begins Saturday night in Atlanta, and everyone from Vegas odds makers to the mayor of Toronto predicts a Toronto win.
And they're going to win. I'm quite sure they're going to win.
The Metro Convention and Visitors Association expects each home game to pump more than $3.5 million into the local economy. More than $10 million if the series goes the distance. Paul Rogers, CFTO News.
Attendance figures were down 7% for the 1992 Canadian National Exhibition. The numbers were released today during the annual general meeting. This year's attendance totaled
Lions tonight, 7:30 Eastern. The NFL of TSN, a game you don't want to miss.
Today on Sports Desk, Tom Glavine will start for the Braves in Game 1, but tickets for the Sky Dome dates are at a premium. The Tampa Bay Lightning early season NHL surprises. Dave King and his Calgary Flames need goal production from their 50-goal line. And the Eskimos had better get the point before the playoffs get here.
Sports Desk is brought to you by Motomaster, Canada's #1 selling replacement parts, and by Weiser Locks, quality locks made for Canadians by Canadians.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the early report from our TSN Control Center. I'm Jim Van Horn. The Blue Jays are going to the World Series. I think for a lot of people, it still hasn't sunk in. Canada has a team in the big show for the first time ever. The Jays also became the first team to win a championship series in 6 games since the league expanded the playoffs to a best-of-7 back in 1985. And another interesting first from yesterday's win. Cito Gaston becomes the first black manager to lead his team to a World Series berth. And while they're still basking in the glow of their success, and deservedly so, there is still one more mountain to climb and a lot of questions to be answered. Here's Gino Reda from Sky Dome.
Toward the line and left, calling for it is Maldonado, and the Blue Jays have finally won the pennant.
Certainly on the cover in Toronto, but also on La Presse in Montreal, the Ottawa Citizen in our nation capital. Times, front page. Oh, Canada, first pennant for Toronto.
Well, it's less than 18 hours since the Blue Jays won the American League Championship, but they're already tearing up the field here at the Sky Dome. But, of course, that's just for this weekend's Argonaut game. Then it's back to baseball mode in time for Game 3 of the World Series on Tuesday. You know, came by here to talk to Cito Gaston about the upcoming series, but he's not here, nor is his staff. That leaves a lot of questions to be answered when Cito and his staff get together in Atlanta on Friday. For example, what do you do with Rance Mullinax? Is he going to become reactivated as a left-handed pinch hitter off the bench? What do you do with your starting lineup now that you cannot use a DH in a National League ballpark? And of course, the question everyone wants answered, will it be a 3 or a 4-man rotation?
I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen. I guess they've been talking about a 4-man.
At this point, it doesn't matter to me. If they tell me to go pick up the bats, I go pick up the bats. We're going to the World Series. Who cares?
One thing we do know for sure, I spoke to Blue Jay General Manager Pat Gillick, and he says Jack Morris will start Game 1, and he'll face Tom Glavine. Glavine, not impressive in the National League Championship Series. He was 0-2 with an ERA of 12.27.
I think we might have a little bit of an edge there. I think our bullpen's a little bit deeper. But as far as starting pitching, I think that's pretty much a wash. I think they've got a good staff, and we've got a good staff. So it'll be a fun series. Should be a good series.
They've got a lot of weapons over there. So do we. They've got a much better bullpen than what Pittsburgh had. They've also got nicer weather.
Some power and justice and Gant, and you saw Steve Green go deep over there. But I'm looking forward to be a real good series. I think it's going to be one to watch.
Early Thursday morning, a handful of unsold tickets went on sale. 500 seats in each of the 3 games to be played here in Toronto were still available. Were being the operative word. The supply may have been low, but the demand was incredible. And they were not cheap by any stretch of the imagination.
I've been here since 6:30 this morning. I'd wait here for 2 days. I've got 4 seats, singles. I pay $72 each. Is this the Winfield of Dreams in Iowa? No way. It's the big show in T.O.
Yes, the big show. If you went to bed early last night, you probably fell asleep wondering how the Jays stacked up against the Pittsburgh Pirates. After all, Doug Drabek was pitching an outstanding game, and it appeared that a 2-0 lead the Pirates had established early in the game would hold up. It did hold up until the bottom of the 9th. Terry Pendleton is already on second with a double. David Justice hits this grounder to second, but Jose Lean boots it. First and third, none out. Drabek walks Sid Bream to load the bases. And then Ron Gant hits a fly ball to deep left field that just stays in the park. Pendleton tags and scores. 2-1 Pirates. Another walk loaded the bases. The Braves were trying anything for luck. And then former Blue Jay Francisco Cabrera steps to the plate.
He hacked at the 2-0, now the 2-1. Line drive and a base hit. Justice has scored the tying run. Bream to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
The Braves celebrate. Barry Bonds can't believe it. Andy Van Slyke is stunned. And Stan Belinda is crushed.
I did my best. And if that ain't good enough for him, then hey, maybe they should talk to the owners or whatever and whatever they have to do. But the owners and everybody know I gave it my all, and I went right after him. And Jimmy Leland knows I went right after him. And, you just got to base it. It's part of the game.
Frankie's an awesome fastball hitter, and I was just hoping that he's going to see one, but he just did a great job to get it through there. And I'll tell you what, if I could have went out there and helped Sid run a little faster, I would have, because he wasn't moving too fast around the base, and I didn't know if he was going to make it, but when he did, it was just the greatest feeling in the world.
Tonight, I got more confident because the other pitcher was more tough last night, and I hit it good. So I got to hit good. I got to hit him good tonight.
Unbelievable finish last night. Well, the Braves have the day off today. The Jays will leave for Atlanta tomorrow. And in the meantime, a bunch of the Braves took the day off and decided to relax in a different kind of way. After last night's heart-wrenching victory, 4 of the Braves pitchers spent time winding down at a golf course today. Pete Smith, Tom Glavine, Steve Avery, and John Smoltz. They were hitting putts instead of the strike zone.
I really enjoyed all day just to get away from everything. But now it's a nice feeling to go out and concentrate on golf, and then in the back of your mind know that we won that big game last night.
I really approach this game like I do in the pitching mound. It's really unique because it's sight-oriented, target-oriented, and that's what pitching is. And I just really relax and I'm comfortable.
When do you start thinking about Game 1?
Probably tomorrow at the workout. I was down there throwing a little bit today getting ready for it. But, the rest of the day today, I'm just going to forget about baseball for now and just try and relax, like I say. And then tomorrow, workout time, start thinking about Toronto.
The win by the Jays yesterday to get them into the World Series was by far the biggest victory in franchise history, and Vegas odds makers have made them 6-5 favorites to win their first World Series title. This is a franchise with a very rich history, a franchise that has had its share of peaks and valleys, and a franchise that has had a lot of growing pains. In the early years, baseball fans were happy just to have big league baseball in Toronto. The team struggled in the late 70s, losing 107, 102, and 109 games in their first 3 seasons. But it didn't matter. The city was patient, and the organization had a solid game plan. Draft well, develop the young talent. Then, when the time is right, mold a contending team through trades and free agency. The early years will best be remembered for people like Roy Hartsfield, John Scott, Steve Bowling, Pedro Garcia. In 1979, a young Dominican shortstop came on the scene and quickly became a crowd favorite. Alfredo Griffin was named co-winner of the AL Rookie of the Year. In 1980, the Jays had a new manager, Bobby Maddock, and a new attitude. They came out of the blocks quickly, even held first for a while, but faded. The following season, the Jays got off to their worst start ever. Then came the strike. When it was over, a new breed of young ball players emerged. 21-year-olds George Bell and Jesse Barfield would carry the club into the next decade. With new players came a new manager, and in 1982, Bobby Cox was hired from the Atlanta Braves, the same team he would return to 4 years later. The Jays won 78 games in Cox's first year, 89 in his second, a season the young Jays were almost good enough.
There's a drive to George Bell. He's got to come in. He's there. He's got it. The Blue Jays have won it.
1985. The Jays were division champions. A berth into the World Series seemed imminent, but a future Hall of Famer just would not let that happen. The Jays were close in 1987, but a late-season collapse forced Toronto to the sidelines as Frank Tanana mesmerized Toronto on the final day of the season. Once again, the Jays would have to wait until next year for that first World Series win. The Jays made trips to the postseason in 1989 and 1991, but both times the West won, proving to be too strong for Toronto teams long on talent, but short on character. Things are different in 1992 with the free agent acquisitions of Jack Morris, Dave Winfield, David Cohn. The Blue Jays are stronger, there's better chemistry, and finally, a trip to the Fall Classic, maybe, after 16 years, 16 long years, a world championship. In other baseball news today, John McSherry was forced to leave Game 7 of the National League Championship Series during the second inning after complaining of dizziness. McSherry is still in an Atlanta hospital, listed in fair condition. There's no word on what is wrong with the 48-year-old umpire who was taking part in his 7th playoff series. Lou Piniella may not be unemployed for very long. The former manager of the Reds has had preliminary discussions with Woody Woodward about the Seattle Mariners field managing position. Seattle fired Bill Plummer earlier this week and say they will hold serious interviews beginning next week. Piniella and Woodward have a lot in common. Both worked for the Yankees and both were fired by George Steinbrenner. And the St. Louis Cardinals have decided not to pick up the options on the contracts of first baseman Andres Galarraga and outfielder Milt Thompson. The Cards would have had to pay out $4.9 million to both players next season. Instead, the buyouts will cost the franchise only $550,000. Galarraga, the former Expos, missed most of last season with a broken wrist. There's been rumors that the Expos might try to pick him up once again. When we come back, we'll talk about all the news that's fit to print from the NHL. Out west, the Calgary Flames are off to an outstanding start to the season. One of the reasons is the production from the 50-goal line. They have been scoring and are expected to continue. Peter Watts has that story and a lot more. And the Lightning are kicking ice early in the season.